Welcome to Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon. I'm your host, Captain Matt, and today we're talking outboards versus jet drives. Let's jump right in. Obviously, the outboard is the engine you can see. You've got the motor attached to the outside of the boat. The jet drive, you have the engine on the inside, and you have a jet drive that shoots the water out the back end. Here's a little look at what it looks like. You've got the propeller on the outboard that your water level is going to be around here somewhere, and then the propeller kind of screws through the water. The jet drive, you've got an intake that's on the back third of the boat. It's going to suck in the water through the grates, shoot it through the impeller, and then out the nozzle, which is going to steer and give you your propulsion. So two very different types of propulsion systems. Let's look at the benefits of each. So the jet drive, you've got no exposed propeller. I think that's one of the big ones. It's a cleaner look compared to the outboard, where you can actually have better access to the water from the stern. You've got that whole swim platform. They've got a double-tiered swim platform, one that's right at the water level, another one that's a nice bench seat because of the low-profile engines compared to other styles. On the other hand, you have a higher pitch sound and you run higher RPMs and less torque. Because you're running through the nozzle, your impeller isn't as big and you're using that force through the nozzle. So usually when you get over a 21-foot boat, you're going to go from a single engine to a twin because of that less torque that you have. And it's just a different sound, a different experience. Compared to the outboard is quieter. They run at lower RPMs and they have more torque because of the propeller system. The propeller is larger in diameter, and the design allows it to get going. The outboard has about a 3-foot draft, maybe a 4-foot draft when that motor is down, but it's easily tilted up. The draft on a jet drive, you're about 18 inches, so you can get in some shallower areas, but you do have to be careful because you are sucking water up from the bottom. If you get too shallow and you're running, you can suck up rocks, you can suck up debris, you can suck up weeds into that impeller system, and it can cause problems. So don't think that you can run in real shallow water, but you can get it up there without scraping the drive. Again, the outboards, you can usually run a single engine up to 24, maybe 26, 27 feet, maybe even a little bit bigger. On the jet drives, when you get to about 21, you usually go to a twin engine because of the weight and the design of the engine and the propulsion. The outboard, it's going to have a better hold in rough water. What I mean by that is the drive is down deeper in the water. That's why you have a larger draft, a deeper draft, versus the jet drive. It's going to be sportier and it's going to be quicker out of the hole. So the jet drive is just going to shoot out of the hole, and it's going to be super quick. It's going to have super sporty handling like you're driving a sports car. The outboard is going to, in rough water, it's going to be able to hold you better in rough water and give you a smoother ride, which we'll talk about. The engine tilts all the way out of the water, so if you're leaving the boat in the water, you can get everything to tilt out so you don't have any maintenance issues. On the jet drive, if you leave the boat in the water, you're going to have your drive system that's going to be under the water line, and there's additional anodes and some protection that you're going to have to take care of, as well as if you have areas where there's growth in there, you can get growth going on in that whole impeller system that you have to address. Now, on the outboard side, the benefit, hey, it's likely faster on the top end when you're trimmed up, depending on the horsepower. But because you have the ability to trim that engine, the angle of attack, you can get more of the boat out of the water. You can get more top end speed, typically. Now, it's got a better shape for the wake and less wipe water. Because the jet drive shoots the water out, it creates a lot of white water back there if you're doing water sports, whereas the propeller screwing through the water, it's going to have a more defined edge if you're wakeboarding or doing something like that. It does give you a smoother ride, again, because you can adjust the angle of attack. You can adjust the angle of the bow using that trim. So if you're in real heavy seas, you can get that bow up nice and high and ride and soften up that ride. Whereas most jet drives, they don't have that that trim system. And there's also more technicians available that work on, it doesn't matter what the system is, a Mercury and Yamaha for sure, but even the Suzuki and Yamaha, they're a little bit more common than the jet drives. Although you know, if you go to a power sports dealer that works on Rotax or works on Yamaha engines, you can find those as well. So just check that out. Now, who do I recommend what for? So I think this is what's really important about them is how are you going to use it? So if you're somebody that loves to go to the sandbar, you love to be in the water and be off the back of the boat, the swim platform and the everything at the back of the boat, the shallower draft, is perfect. So the jet drive wins there. On safety, you know, the perception of the jet drive being safer because there's no exposed propeller. When used properly, the outboard is also very safe. So it's just kind of a perception, and you don't have to worry about if you've got kids that don't listen as well and they're going to monkey around in the back of the boat. Yes, that jet drive is safer in that respect. Comfort, the outboard's going to win in comfort of the ride. Jet drive wins in it's fun. It's quick and it's sporty. So if that's what you're looking for, the jet drive wins there for sure compared to the outboard. Freshwater, saltwater, they both are equally good in that environment. With the caveat of if you're leaving the boat in the water, then I think the outboard wins. But that's just if you're leaving it in the water. If you're in a freezing climate, they both have very simple freeze protection processes. It's gravity and firing up the engine and shooting the water out for the jet drive. It really does the work. If you're looking older than, let's say, a 2005 is kind of my mark, I would go towards the outboard. The older jet drives, because they run at higher RPM, because they're quick and sporty, people that like to run them hard usually go with the jet drives. And in 05 and older, hey, they had some issues. The technology isn't where it is today. If there's no jet drive mechanics available, then go to the outboard. If you want quieter and less vibration, I think the outboard wins hand down. If that's something that's important to you, the quick and sportiness of the jet drive with the higher RPM, the higher pitch of the engine, the newer outboards the last 10 years or so are virtually silent. You can't hear them. So I would give the outboard the win if you're looking for quiet. If you want to go into more drives, you can check out this video, compare the pros and cons of jet drives, stern drives, outboards, and inboards on the channel. It's in the First Time Boat Buyer playlist, so you can check that out. If you've got a question, if you've got a comment from your experience, leave it in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. If you're a new boat buyer and you're shopping, grab that toolkit. It's free, boatbuyersecretweapon.com/toolkit, and YouTube's recommended a couple videos for you. Thanks, and remember, life truly is better on a boat.